Welcome to Golf and the Good Life, your guide to golf travel across the pond. I'm DJ Jones, he is Connor Evers, and today we are revisiting the timely topic of packing. But before we get there, Connor, great to see you as always, man. Exciting times all around. What is the latest and greatest on your side of the screen?
Appreciate the introduction as always, DJ, and always good to see you and looking forward to today's episode. But yeah, when this episode does come out, we will be within a month's time frame of our first groups traveling in kind of the early part of April. So as we always talk about, the off season feels shorter and shorter, and it sure does. I remember our first group getting back in October of 2025, and we were ramping up and kind of answering those final details and questions from our groups that are about to travel, and all good things from the 2027 planning as well. So busy in multiple different directions, but that's always a good thing. So looking forward to, like I said, today's episode and groups traveling.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's funny. We were talking about, what did we want to cover today? And it's like, well, we already did one on packing, but should we just go back to it? And I was like, yeah, but didn't we just do that? And talking about how quickly like time moves and so forth, I pulled it up and we first covered packing in episode 7. It was 72 episodes ago, 3 years. And
Jeez.
I was like, okay,
Wow.
yeah, I think we can come back to it because number one, I'm sure some of the advice maybe has changed a little bit, or at least there's some new things that we might want to cover. I went back and pulled the show notes and listened a little bit, and we missed a couple things that we probably should have covered back then, but we were kind of rookies, doing this thing. So, and then
Yes.
last but not least is it's pretty timely. Like you said, we're a month out. And there's a lot of folks that are getting ready to start packing, probably for some trips. So what we thought we would do is a couple things. We're going to take it on in terms of basically 2 segments. Think of packing as far as packing your golf stuff, and then think of packing as far as packing your luggage and your clothing and what have you. So we'll break it up in 2 parts, all in one episode, of course. And we've got some member quotes and so forth that we might work in there, some firsthand advice that comes from them. But let's just kind of get going. Connor, when you're giving advice to folks about packing their golf stuff, what hits the list for you?
Yeah, the big thing we'll start, like I said, with packing your golf bag, and comes down to the actual bag itself. If you have a staff bag or one of those cart bags that's got the 14 club slots, leave that at home. Do not bring that over because one, it's going to be too big and you're going to be, either with a caddy or on a push cart. And two, if you are with a caddy, they're going to joke with you, and be aware you're probably going to get, some type of slide joke if you do decide to carry one of those over. But leave it back. I even personally, I have a stand bag, but I'll leave that home here, and I have like a Sunday one strap bag that just lays on the ground. I know DJ, you have one as well, a Jones bag. So bring that, super lightweight, and you'll enjoy that walking yourself or do it to have a caddy. And the other kind of funny thing too is caddies, if you do have a bag that's a little bit bigger, usually your caddy will swap it, for a lighter bag. They usually have a few in the back that they'll have. So don't be alarmed if you're moving, golf balls and some other things over to a new bag, just in case that. So leave that bigger bag at home. Golf balls, one big thing I always bring over. I'm always like, all right, I'm going to lose, a few here. It's so funny. One, caddies are really great, over there. They're going to find your golf ball. And two, it's not as difficult as you may think it is, even if you see that, drone footage or photos of the big dunes, and it's like, oh my gosh, if I hit one a little squirrely here, I'm not going to find it. And it's not the case. A lot of times the topography and everything moves towards the fairway. And the other big thing is you don't have any ponds, creeks, rivers, etc., water hazards that kind of run through the courses usually. So you find your golf ball easier. And sometimes I'll play the same, ball a few rounds in a row over there. One of our member quotes from last year, he was actually a gentleman who was celebrating his 70th birthday on the trip, and said, pack no more than 12 to 15 golf balls needed. Caddies find everything. So case in point. The other one is a handicap card. Make sure you have it printed. Folks say, hey, can I just have a screenshot on my phone? Will that work? Yes, it will. But just in case, if say you're playing the old course and you hit the ballot and you go up there and your phone's not working or what have you, oh my gosh, what a panic attack. So have that paper copy. It's so funny. Literally every trip that I go over where I'm playing a course that requires one, I still, old school, I print off that copy, put it in my bag. I actually print off one there and then put another one in my suitcase, just in case. I'm a little bit more anal when it comes to that. So usually the marquee courses, the old course, definitely will. A few others will require that handicap card, especially on check-in, even if you've prepaid for your green fees and booked it through such as us as H&B. If you don't have a handicap card, it's perfectly fine. Some of our folks that even plan trips with us don't have one. Talk to your PGA professional or even your state golf association, and you can make one directly through them. You only have to have a few scores, you have that handicap, and you're off and running. So that's kind of the things you'd want to pack in your golf bag, and that'll get you set for your expedition across the pond.
Well, it's great advice. And, it is funny about the caddies. I mean, I feel like I've gone entire trips where I basically had a sleeve of balls and the caddies have just found them all. They're like magnets. I mean, it's incredible how easily they just walk right to it. And I guess maybe some of that is we hit the shot, it's bound for the rough. We look away in disgust or whatever, and they watch it to like the blade of grass on the ground and they know exactly where they're walking when they get up there. And that's part of what makes them so great. I wanted to kind of touch in terms of golf stuff to touch on shipping your clubs in particular, or at least packing and transport with the airlines and so forth, because a lot of our members do opt to ship their clubs. And, it's a great option. I've used it many times, at least going over. It is just one less thing to kind of think about. But the key thing, if you are going to ship your clubs over, is, well, it's two things. Number one, you've got to follow the instructions from your carrier, whether it's luggage forward or ship sticks, or if you're just shipping them on FedEx or whatever, you got to follow those instructions to the letter. The reason being is most of the providers, they all have kind of an on-time guarantee if your bag gets, delayed or goes sideways. Well, those on-time guarantees don't cover if you have a customs delay. And more often than not, when a customs delay occurs with your golf bag, it's because there's something in your bag that wasn't supposed to be there, and they definitely told you about it in the booking instructions and what have you. Cigar lighters and bottles of alcohol are the two biggest culprits. And, again, if that happens, you're going to be on the hook for whatever rentals and shoes and what have you. And there's really only so much they can do. I mean, if it gets flagged by customs, you're kind of at the whim or at the mercy of the people at the airport or whatever. So follow those instructions to the letter. And that includes, there's kind of a little nuance here when it comes to AirTags. We are big time pro AirTag guys. We told a story many episodes back about one of our members who landed at Shannon Airport. His golf bag wasn't there. They assumed it was missing from the airline. No, someone had picked it up off the luggage carousel, drove away with it, and they followed the person and got the bag back. Now, I wouldn't usually suggest doing that, but it worked out for them. It worked out for them in this case. Yeah. But the point is, we're big AirTag guys. But when you ship your clubs, I had a meeting last week with Luggage Forward because there's been kind of some conflicting advice as it relates to AirTags when shipping your bag. And the answer was, it is a hard no. Do not have an AirTag in your bag. They are prohibited, particularly in the United Kingdom. It largely comes down to the whole batteries rule. And so that also applies to rangefinders. So no AirTag if you are shipping your clubs. If you're going to have them on the airline, fine. The airlines oftentimes will use your AirTag data to help you find the bag. And then your rangefinder needs to go in your carry-on bag so that you've got it. The overall gist is follow those instructions, and that includes what I just talked about with AirTags, because anything you can do to reduce the risk of the bag being flagged, you should, because those are the biggest reasons. And like I said, their on-time guarantee usually doesn't apply in those cases.
It's great advice. And I always tell folks, if someone calls and we're talking about, hey, what's the nuances between shipping and bring them on the plane? And we talk about what you mentioned, DJ. But I usually say, check with your provider to see how many days in advance to ship them. And I usually say, give or take 8 to 10. And sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend all that time without my clubs. Well, there, like you said, DJ, there could be some, delays when it comes to customs when traveling over. It just gives a little bit more time for them to make up.
If Luggage Forward tells you to send the clubs on Friday, send them on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Give yourself a couple of extra days, because even if you've done everything right, something could still flag, the bag, or it may,
Exactly.
who knows what could happen. Any number of things can happen that can cause a delay. So just invest a couple extra days, send it a couple days early, and you've got a little bit of buffer room, a little bit of wiggle room to manage that delay. If you're playing on Tuesday and they're scheduling the bag to get there on Monday, straight up, that's just asking for a problem. So send it
Yeah,
early.
absolutely. So kind of next thing here is your luggage, your actual, clothes and luggage. Number one advice is less is usually more. Our members that travel with us all the time say it. A great quote from a gentleman from Detroit Golf Club says, pack half the clothes, but make sure you have all 4 seasons covered, including good rain gear. I literally experienced all 4 seasons in a single round. Amen to that. The majority of our days were sunny, but that can change in under a minute. And it's so right. So twofold there. I mean, so many times, even when I go overseas, I come back and I always like unzip my suitcase, or I'm on my last, night of the trip. I laugh to myself. I just kind of chuckle because I have 3-ish sets of clothes that I just have not worn. Straight up.
Every
I'm
time.
like, I could have left this at home.
Every
And
time.
then to yeah, and to his point about 4 seasons in one day, it's so true. I mean, when I was at Dornick a couple years ago and played, it's my second time playing the course. I was walking down hole 14 Foxy, and you look up and it's been sunny all day, and then you just see this cloud comes over, and you're like, all right, here it comes. And we hit our tee shots walking up, put rain gear on, and before we hit my second shot, it was over. So you have to pack strategically. You have to pack for 4 seasons on the golf course and off. So just kind of consider that as well. Kind of an interesting one is an overnight trick. Wear tomorrow's golf outfit for dinner tonight. Kind of interesting. Okay. It sounds odd, but a lot of golf outfits that you're going to wear, it works for the pubs or a lot of restaurants. A lot more restaurants overseas are a lot more casual than you may think. A lot of our folks say, "Hey, do I need a coat and tie for all my dinners?" And like only a couple places like Muirfield, but even steak restaurants or fine dining, it's a lot more casual than you think. So golf clothing would be very applicable. So you can kind of mix match outfits for the evenings as well as for the golf, and you can wear certainly that outfit at night and then wear it again the following day. So it can save a lot of luggage, and sometimes you're down to a carry-on, not even have to check a bag. So that'd be a cool thing. Members from Green Meadow Country Club, it's actually been on 4 expeditions with us, said, I think you should advise your travelers to plan to play golf and what you wear to dinner the night before. So there you go. And on layers, like we said, it's not exaggeration. You may get 4 seasons in one day. And a nice thing, a lot of our groups will advise, and I wear it too, is compression. Base layer. It's like a long sleeve compression. I wear it. I'm going on a ski trip next week, and I'll wear that same thing overseas. Just kind of keeps you a little bit more warmer. You can wear a short sleeve polo and pullover over it, and it keeps you warm. And you can also take that base layer off as well. And the other thing too is rain gear. Do not skimp on it. Don't go for a very, very cheap set. You're going to want to get something that's really solid. There's nothing worse than being out there when it's one cold and two it's raining and you've got water seeking in places you didn't think water could seek in. That's it's happened to me, and it's miserable, and you can't really focus on the golf, and you're just like, you might be playing a roller course or something, and you're like, I just want to be off this golf course because it's miserable. You just don't want that experience. So get something nice. Your PGA professional, your club will be able to help assist with potentially getting, something good for your trip. And you're spending a lot of money on this, and you want to be comfortable because you're more than likely going to get some type of rain while you're overseas. And then kind of the other thing you want to pack potentially, like I said, is a coat and tie. Look at your itinerary, and you may need one, especially if you're saying lunch at Muirfield or some other parts of that. Usually a lot of places don't anymore, but again, check your itinerary. You may need that as well to pack in. And our biggest thing is footwear, especially, when you're off the golf course. Make sure you have comfortable shoes. A lot of these, small towns and villages, St. Andrews and Edinburgh, Dublin, you're going to be in some cobblestone streets, and you want something that is very comfortable and you can wear it to the golf course and what have you. If you're a lady, leave the high heels at home. The streets are very, tough to walk on. So comfortable shoes are key, and ones that you can use for, the pubs at night, dinners before, going off to golf and to the golf course. And in some other times too, I mean, especially if you're going to summer, sometimes wear shorts. Believe it or not, there are some days, even in April and May, it doesn't matter. You can still get days where it's sunny out and it's shorts weather. So don't think that you have to wear pants and pullovers all the time. Usually that's the case, but there can be some days that you might want to wear shorts as well. So it's kind of about it that I got, Deej.
Well, all great stuff. The wear last night's dinner outfit the night
Yeah.
before is a great tip. And believe it or not, when I put together our show notes, I actually had two people that basically suggested the same thing.
Mhm.
And another one of our members said, with little time between golf and dinners, you end up wearing your golf clothes to dinner, so there's no need for extra additional attire.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really thought about that because when I'm packing for a trip, I'm generally thinking golf evening. And so,
Yeah.
thinking two outfits. And really, unless you're going to a two Michelin star restaurant, you're really just talking golf. And if you
Yeah.
wear the next day's golf attire to dinner, you're
Mhm.
talking 7 outfits instead of
Yeah,
14. And I mean, it's great strategy. Had never
it
really
is.
thought about it. Kind of related to that is there's zero chance that you're walking in these pro shops and not walking out with polos and quarter zips and sweaters or what have you. So pack 4 golf shirts instead of 7 and buy 3 along the way and put them to use during the trip. I mean, if you look at our social media, you'll notice a lot of the golfers, they're mid trip, they might be at North Barrick and they're wearing a Muirfield shirt. I guarantee you they bought that shirt yesterday. So do the same thing.
Yeah.
Save yourself some room in the luggage and put your souvenirs to use. I think another biggie, and this is more of like a strategy in terms of versus like what to pack kind of thing. And actually, I'll lead off with one of our members. He had been on his second trip, and his quote was, "The advice I would offer, it's already in your pre-departure packet. Put clothes in your carry-on bag." The gist of this is think of your carry-on as your insurance policy. So checked bag goes sideways. If you've got a couple days worth of golf attire, a sleeve of golf balls, a glove, maybe your golf shoes, or a pair of like nice tennis shoes or something that you could wear as golf shoes, in a pinch, you're prepared. You've got more or less what you need. If your bag goes astray, you're not walking in the pro shop and having to buy everything. I mean, not only attire, but all the stuff you need for the round of golf. You've got it and you can get by for a couple of days until your bag catches back up with you. So besides the typical suggestions of put your medications and key things in there, make sure your carry-on bag has that backup. It is your insurance policy. I can't tell you how many times we've had members whose luggage has gone sideways with the airlines and one or two outfits made all the difference. In the carry-on, of course, then think about, the other knickknack things that you're going to need. Put your cables and your plug adapters, if you need them in there. Packing currency. ATMs are everywhere, and the ATM exchange rate is usually probably a little better than your bank at home. But if you're landing and you're playing arrival day golf, it's one less thing to think about as you're scrambling to get your bags and find your driver and whatever. Now you got to find an ATM. So if you've got one day's worth of currency, pack that along, with you. But yeah, the number one thing besides, everything you named in terms of packing, treat your carry-on bag as your insurance policy.
Great way to put it. I don't think I've actually heard you say that. And you're right. It's happened so many times in the past, and it will happen this year. It's just inevitable. And we have some other things on our website of the reasons and ways to negate that, different airports and such. But having a few days worth of clothes, you just never know, and it just makes you feel more comfortable and more prepared if you set yourself up for success going into the trip. So kind of quick hit kind of items here. So packing your tech, and especially maybe on your phone or some other thing. WhatsApp, make sure that's downloaded. A lot of times you're actually going to have that, especially if you're traveling with H&B, you're more than likely going to be already communicating with your driver host a week or 2 weeks in advance before departure. So you're going to have, XYZ's name. You're going to probably just chatting with them already, but that's a nice way to chat with them. And then on the ground, you'll be able to communicate with your other group members while you're there too. It's just an easy way to communicate while overseas. Another app to download is called Splitwise. So it's more for groups, say for dinners. If someone is, paying for the entire bill and say it's 8 of you, it's just an easier way to break down the costs and kind of figure out who owes who at the end of the trip. So instead of trying to figure out, oh, you had this, I had that, et cetera, You just kind of don't have to worry about it and figure it out at the end of the trip. And then download your content before you're bored. Sometimes the seat back in front of you is not working, and just make sure you have your own movies or just some other things on your phone or iPad or devices before traveling. And my other one I kind of added on here is the global entry app. So I didn't know this was a thing until like a year ago, which is great. So if you do have global entry, you go into a kiosk, type all your stuff in. Well, they now have an app where you can essentially do all that, take a picture of yourself, and it's good for an hour once you land. And then you walk right up to the person, and there's a QR code. You show it to them and you walk right through. So it makes the process even quicker. Even a tight connection saves you maybe more 10 minutes. 10 minutes could equal, you making your connection or potentially getting on the next leg of the flight. And then I know iPhone does a really good job of it now on the calculator app, but a foreign exchange converter on your phone just to kind of see what the today's conversion are if you're buying merchandise at the golf shop, or maybe something for your significant other at the end of the trip, just to see what the US dollar is comparatively to the euro or pound, or wherever you're traveling, from that sake. So that's kind of my last kind of tidbits there.
Some good ones. And I've got a few to add as well. So going
Nice.
back to the pack in your bag, number one, your golf bag, I should say, take all of the old stuff out of your bag.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
the other day, I'm playing golf. I opened the side zipper of my golf bag. I had been at Streamsong about a month ago. There must have been 4 bottles of water that I had just like hoarded because I was at Streamsong and it was warm, and you're out there on kind of that, it's more or less a desert. And so I had all these extra water bottles, and then I opened up the main pocket with the golf ball, and there must be 5 stroke savers, empty ball sleeves.
Yep.
I mean, it's a mess. And so get
Yep.
all that junk out of your bag. You don't want to be toting that across the ocean. On the tech side of things, if you're traveling with H&B, make sure you've downloaded our app, the H&B app. It'll have everything you need to know as far as your trip goes right there at your fingertips. You don't want to be scrambling to try to download it and get logged in and so forth if you run into any issues. That way you've got it in advance and built into the app. There are some other helpful apps like Connor just mentioned, Currency Exchange, and several others that we've built in to the app there. So it covers a lot of bases for you. And I like to say it's golf and the good life in your pocket, to paraphrase Steve Jobs. And so have it with you. And then the last one is, as you're packing, if you haven't done your UK ETA, the ETA is electronic travel authorization. It is a new additional step that is required for all travelers to the UK. It sort of went into effect last year. It is definitely being enforced this year, and everyone had to have it last year, but if you didn't, they just kind of let you through. Well, that's not the case anymore. As of like yesterday, as we're recording this, it is in full effect. If you don't have your UK ETA, get it. And I would even say, if you're not going to the UK, if you're just going to the Republic of Ireland, in theory, do you need it? No. So if you're going to Dublin and going over to Southwest Ireland and then going back to Dublin, I guess not. But if something happens with your flight and you get diverted, and you're connected in Heathrow and you end up having to stay in Heathrow or something of that nature, you're going to need it. It's literally $20 or it's less than that, but I think the price is going to go up soon. So it's just, think back to an insurance policy. It's an insurance policy. Have it. If you end up needing it, you'll be glad that you did. So it's a very easy process. So as you're packing, if you don't have that, make sure you got it. But yeah, I think that more or less covers it. I would just kind of wrap it up with a quote that I saw on it, and it was basically, the best packed traveler is the one who comes home with room in their bag and no extra unworn outfits, as Connor mentioned earlier. So, I think that pretty well gets it. But listen, as always, we'll put some additional guides in the show notes. But listen, if you're counting down to your trip and this is the last step for you, some exciting times ahead for you. And we hope that this has been helpful. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. We will be back again soon with another episode. But until then, we wish you plenty of golf at its finest and life at its best.